This is Mark BH70, the insane orangutan. Greetings, deceivers and non-deceivers. This is insane orangutan. So we have these people condemning Jesus. So we're going to finish up with Matthew 12. It is just past 11 on at night. Just past 11 at night on September 17th. 2010, Friday. So Jesus is saying, what's going on here is very simple. Your root system, you've built your life in this thing. You've got your root system sucking up evil, and that's what the tree is bearing. It's just like, if you ever know about this, you take some kind of a plant cutting and you put it, like a flower, I think was what you do. You take a clipping of flower, and if the flower is white or off-white or maybe another color, if you want to turn the flower another color, you simply add food coloring, that wonderful, nasty concoction we have nowadays. This picture, by the way, is of Indiana. A sunset, I think. The lights are coming on, so I'm assuming it's a sunset and the light's in that direction. You put a flower in some food coloring and some water. If the flower sucks up the water, it turns the color. If it's white or about white, or maybe even another color, you can change the tint based on what comes up through it. And Jesus is saying the same thing. You're founded in evil, and yet you're complaining about what I'm doing. Your fruit of your tree is of bad character because you're founded in something evil. If the tree is good, it sucks up good nutrients. If the tree is evil, it sucks up evil to produce that kind of a lifestyle. If that's the right word, lifestyle. What is good produces what is good. What is evil produces what is evil. So he's saying you're completely off on accusing me. So anyway, Matthew 12:33, as I was saying, finishing up Matthew 12. Either make the tree good and its fruit good. So you either make the tree good and its fruit good. You either make the tree a good tree and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. It doesn't say make the tree good and its fruit bad, or make the tree bad and its fruit good. It says either make the tree good and its fruit good. It's a natural outcoming of the fruit. Or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. It's an outcoming of the fruit. For the tree is known by its fruit. He's saying the tree, we know what the tree is. You can look at a tree, the bark and all that stuff, and not tell what it is. But once it produces some type of fruit, or you know an oak tree is an oak tree if it has acorns on it. An orange tree is an orange tree. One of the quickest ways you can recognize it is you can look at its leaves a little bit, and you look and it has oranges on it, and the oranges are growing from it. And once you assess that, then you know it's an orange tree. And he's saying, I'm looking at your behavior and it's telling me what you are. I know what kind of tree you are by what you're doing. You brood of vipers, and we're going over a little bit from last time. You brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak what is good? For the mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart. He's saying, you're filling your heart with evil. Being evil, speak what is good. How can you brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak what is good? For the mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart. The good things, the good man brings out of good treasure what is good, because the good man in his heart, he says, out of that which fills the heart, he has in his heart good treasure. He brings out of good treasure what is good. And the evil man brings out of evil treasure. What is evil? He says you're treasuring good, you're treasuring evil. But I tell you that every careless word that people speak they shall give an accounting for it in the day of judgment. So not to be careless with your words. And he's saying you're being careless with your words. You're going to have to give an accounting with it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. It's just meeting things out. It's just an accounting of giving good people what is good and evil people what is evil, which is their due. You know, a lot of people go to work and they don't want to give a full day's pay. But if they have their pay docked, they start complaining. That's an evil thing to do. If you're not willing to go to work and work, why do you expect to have your job? I mean, it's the same thing with Jesus and him accounting and giving judgment in the end. He's only giving the good what they deserve, and giving the evil the result of their actions. It's as simple as a balancing of a scale. You know, you don't put a weight in one side of the scale and then put some flour in the other side or whatever you got. And when they don't balance, you say, well, that's a pound or whatever, or that's a kilogram for y'all outside of the United States and perhaps outside of England as well. You know, I know Australia uses metric. You know, you don't buy a pound of flour and get an ounce of flour and not complain. Also, the way Jesus works is, if you'll give him what good behavior, then it's his will, as the story goes about the denarius, how he gave people that worked for him a denarius. And the other people, you know, and the other people expected more. And he said, look, I'm being generous. It's my decision to be generous. If you've done what's good, I can be more generous than what you really deserve. For by your words you will be justified, Matthew 12, verse 37, and by your words you will be condemned, because out of the overflow of the heart the mouth speaks. He said you're doing evil by what you say, and it's also what people do. They say what they're going to do before they do it. So it's an indication of what they're doing. Their words are an indication of where their heart is and what they're doing, and it's a lot of what people can't see or won't see. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees said to him, verse 38, Matthew 12, Teacher, we want to see a sign from you. But he answered and said to them, An evil and adulterous generation craves for a sign, and no sign will be given to it, but the sign of Jonah the prophet. He's saying, you know, we're talking about good and evil here, and you're looking for fireworks. I mean, he does miracles. They look at the miracles. They say it's Satan that's doing it, that's casting out Satan. And then he said, we want a sign. He said, well, I've already given you one. Why am I going to give you a sign? Why are you going to ask me for a sign and me give you specifically what you want? For just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the sea monster, it says sea monster. I don't know what that translation is. So, how they're translating it. So will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up with this generation at the judgment and will condemn it. Now, they didn't like the men of Nineveh. And Jonah was supposed to preach to them, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And behold, something greater than Jonah is here. Now, see, they were religious. They were Jews, and they thought themselves special. Queen of South, or the Queen of the South, is some of those are in italicis, will rise up with this generation at the judgment and condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, something greater than Solomon is here. So Jesus is talking about people that weren't even Jews, and he's saying they will condemn the people of Nineveh and the queen from Sheba, who came to listen to Solomon, And yet you got somebody greater than Solomon. You got somebody greater than Jonah. And while the Ninevites, the people from Assyria, whom the Jews did not like at the time, probably didn't like after it because they really oppressed the Jews. And a Shebaite, who was black, by the way, for those of you who know much about Sheba, not African black, but a kind of black. So, you have these people that the Jews felt like, well, those people are outsiders. She came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, something greater than Solomon is here. Now, when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, it passes through waterless places seeking rest, and does not find. Then it says, I will return to the house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds unoccupied, swept, and put in order. Then it goes and takes along with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. That is the way it will also be with this evil generation, or these evil people. Jesus is saying, you've got somebody trying to set things in order. God's trying to work with you. And He's trying to cleanse your land. He's trying to help you. He's trying to help, your soul. And you're using religion as an excuse to make yourself more evil than you would have been anyway. He's saying God's coming along to help you, and He's correcting you, and yet you go back and get worse off than you were before. While he was still speaking to the crowds, behold, his mother and brothers were standing outside seeking to speak with him. Someone said to him, behold, your mother and your brothers are standing outside seeking to speak with you, seeking to speak to you. But Jesus answered the one who was telling him and said, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And stretching out his hand toward his disciples, he said, behold, my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father, who is in heaven, is my mother, or is my brother and my sister, or my brother and sister and mother. And that's the end of Matthew 12. Jesus was saying the character that he had, that those who were related to him were those who were trying to do what was good. Those people that did good were like Jesus, so they were related to him in that way. So, once again, you can lose the point. It's like someone may have a good friend, and they say, you're like a brother to me. And may have a brother and say, you're not like a brother to me. You ever hear of the story where you have some son, he says, I deny you as my father, I renounce you as my father, or whatever. What he means is, your character is such that I can't stand to be around you. When Jesus would cast out evil spirits, going back to the portion before that, he would kick them out, so he would clean up the person. And Jesus was saying, you've got these prophets and all these people coming to you. They're trying to clean you up, and you correct something, then you go back. You're going through all this rigmarole of religion. You correct something and then you go back. You correct something and you go back. So he's saying, the demons are cast out. A demon is cast out of somebody. Then it brings back more because they weren't determined to do the right thing to begin with. They gave up on doing what's right, so then more evil is what they were doing as they thought themselves better. So that's chapter 12. God bless.